So, the afternoon, it's afternoon, it's December 31st, 1991. I'm 23 years old, I'm living in Pittsburgh in this cool one-bedroom apartment. It's New Year's Eve day. That night I'm supposed to be going to a friend's house. He's having a New Year's Eve party. And the plan is, after that, the next day, my friend is going to be taking me to the airport, where I will fly from Pittsburgh to Cincinnati to rendezvous with my dad. My dad and I are going to fly on the same flight to New York, to Long Island, to go connect with my mom. And the deal was my dad's job had transferred him several times. This was the last time he was getting transferred. He had been transferred to work at Cincinnati International Airport, which, fun fact, is actually in the state of Kentucky. For any of you who want to know this, it actually sits in the state of Kentucky. Do not ask me why. So my mom was on Long Island packing up the house that I had grown up in, getting ready for the movers, and we were having our sort of late Christmas on New Year's Day. So it's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was laying on my couch. I had just finished watching Tiny Toon Adventures. I remember it distinctly. Great show. And the phone rang. I was laying on the couch, and I reached behind my head because the phone was ringing. I answered the phone, and it was my grandma. It was my dad's mom. And I answered the phone. I said, "Hey," and she goes, "Hey, honey, it's Grandma." I'm like, "Hey, Grandma, Happy New Year. How's it going?" And my grandma said, "Honey, I got bad news. I got really bad news." And she said, "Diane's dead, honey. Your mom is dead." And my mom was dead, out of a clear blue sky, out of nowhere. She was 47 years old, and it just happened to be what they would call now sudden adult death syndrome. She just, no preventing it, no doing anything, she was just gone. I was 23, she was my best friend, you know, she was like the coolest mom you could ask to have. And suddenly the whole world shifts in a whole different direction. And so when you love, particularly when it's your parent, I mean, everything changes. So we go through all the stuff that you go through. I mean, the next morning, strangely, I still went to the New Year's Eve party because I didn't know what else to do. The next morning, I still got on a plane, and I still met my dad, and we still flew to New York, and we showed up at the house I grew up in, and it looked like Mom just got out of bed in the morning and then walked out of the house and left. There were half-wrapped Christmas presents on the dining room table. It was just a very weird scene. So, let's flash forward 22 years after that. The only living relative I have on my mom's side of the family is her brother, my Uncle Robert, and his two kids. So, last year, not this, but last year, my birthday, my Uncle Robert calls me to sing me happy birthday like he does every year. And he says, "Hey, I have a gift for you. I have a Christmas present, or I have a birthday present for you, but I don't really have it yet," which is kind of par for the course for my uncle. It's this kind of guy he is. I says, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, you know, when you were younger, when my kids were born, I had a video camera." And this was back in the early 80s when video cameras were like the shit. They were like, whoa. And he said, "You know, I've been going through and I found these boxes of tapes, and there was little mini tapes, and I'm going through them and I'm putting them and digitizing them. And I'm pretty sure that I have some video of you and your mom." And the minute I heard that, I sat, I mean, this is the kind of thing you see in like Lifetime movies. It really happened. I sat down on the floor of the kitchen. I was talking to him, I sat down and I started crying instantly. Because one of the things that happened in those 20 some odd years between the time my mom died and that time is I'd totally forgotten her voice. And that's the thing, is that I didn't have any recordings of her. I had no audio, no video, nobody. And as far as I knew, nobody had any. Like, where would I find this? It's not like we went to any place where they would record us. So the prospect of hearing her voice again was really overwhelming. It took a whole year of bugging him, friendly little texts going, "Hey, Uncle Robert, I thought that maybe you were supposed to get me this. Oh, I've been really busy." Finally, in the big secret, go to your uncle's wife, because she's the one that said, "I'll make it happen." 2 weeks later, I get a DVD, I get a disc in the mail. And I put it in my computer, and there's this file. And it was a trip that he had made to visit Mom and Dad and me on Long Island, and I did not recall him making this visit at all. Until I started, and I saw the video, and then I started it. And there was my mom. And, God, getting chills. I mean, it was Mom, and she was laughing, and she was talking. And there was a living room that was in the house I grew up in, which is long, long gone. It's been gone for many, many years. I'm never going to see that room again. And there was my dad, and there was my mom. And I'll tell you the weird thing, is that there was also me on the video, and there was me as a very, very gay 15-year-old kid. Even I was kind of blown away by that. But I guess the whole point of the story doesn't really have a nice tidy ending, other than to say what was beautiful was to be given back the memory of her voice, and to know that I will not have to forget it again, because now I have it. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you cut it, I mean, I also have video of me as a very gay kid.